So welcome to this webinar. Today we are going to talk about, not me, but you guys are going to talk about how to improve employee experiences with GenAI, where we focus on GenAI on the Employee Center and technology workflows. And we have a 5-step guide to get started, which you will present for us today. My name is Sasha, and I'm the marketing manager here at the Cloud People. So all the emails you get and invitations and all kind of stuff are from me or some of my colleagues in marketing. But today I have the pleasure to be here together with you, Sandra, and Hannes. Maybe you can introduce yourselves.
Yes, of course. So I'm Sondre Pedersen. I'm a senior solution architect at the Cloud People, located, as Sasha said, in Oslo. And my focus areas are mainly around the employee experience and generative AI on the ServiceNow platform. Hannes, what about you?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Hannes Hirvikallio, based out of our Helsinki office. Today in the home office doing this webinar. And I'm one of the founders of the company, mainly in sales, been around the ServiceNow sales quite a long time, but currently also today advising customers on licensing topics. And GenAI is one of those big licensing topics on the ServiceNow platform where we can advise the customers to make the correct decisions. So that's a clear distinction. You know, I make the promises and then Sondre fulfills them. So that's the way we go.
Yes.
Great. But before we start, I guess most of you know who we are. If not, then we are the Cloud People. We are a pure play ServiceNow leader partner with the highest partner status and a really high CSAT score, which we are really proud of. And every day, my colleagues located across Europe and Americas help organizations leverage the capabilities on the ServiceNow platform. And today we're going to talk about, GenAI more specifically. So I think I will give the word to you, Hannes.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sasha. All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty, the content of today's webinar. Three main bullets, main topics that we're going to discuss today is what is the overall benefit of leveraging GenAI. GenAI is all over the news. Everybody in ServiceNow, every other technology vendor is talking about GenAI and how they have implemented GenAI into their solution. So it is overwhelming. There's a lot of GenAI stuff, but we're going to laser focus today on a couple of the benefits and then actual concrete steps with our 5-step guide on how to get started on your GenAI journey. Then there are a couple of tips and tricks, do's and don'ts, suggestions, advisory, because it's not the first time that we're doing this. We already have projects like this done, and we've learned from them together with our customers. So we'd like to share that advice with you today. So those are the 3 main headlines that we're going to discuss today, and let's take it forward.
I will also say here, if you have questions, please write them in the chat, and then we will have some polls as well. So there will pop up a box on the screen, and then we hope you will answer that as well.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sasha. But all right, so let's start with how can you, as a ServiceNow customer, benefit from GenAI? And now I made the assumption that you are a ServiceNow customer because you are here in our webinar, and we are 100% focused on delivering ServiceNow. But let's quickly take one step back and look at what GenAI is. And this picture applies to every single GenAI solution on the planet. ServiceNow, OpenAI, Google Gemini, you can basically label this on top of every single GenAI technology on the market. And it's fairly simple. You have your consumers, people using AI, and they normally live in different applications. They're doing their day-to-day work, creating reports, solving tickets, asking questions, etc. And they basically do their work in either Microsoft Teams, Google Chat, they access portals, they look at processes, they solve tickets, etc. So the data consumer is somebody who is using the AI. They are leveraging the AI in order to benefit their day-to-day job. The real intelligence then lies in the middle. So what is the generative AI? And once again, applies to all of the Gen AI technologies on the market today. So they normally have a large language model, which is a huge set of data that they can then use to answer questions and give intelligent answer to the people, the consumers who are consuming that data or asking the questions. And then, of course, with every single data project, we need to fine-tune the data. We need to make sure it's secure, it's private, and it runs on top of an AI platform. And today we're going to focus on the Now Assist on ServiceNow. But as said, there are several other Gen AI platforms on the market. Then the third bullet here on the right is the data. So normally the data consumer has a question. Gen AI tries to figure out the answer, but it then needs external data that it then uses to produce the answer to the question or the consumer who is then asking the question. And very often the data sources are different. There's a lot of data on ServiceNow when it comes to tickets, knowledge articles, users agreements. But more often than not, we need to get data from SAP, Salesforce, the general internet, maybe a document repository in your infrastructure, etc., etc. And then getting that process or getting that question in a matter of seconds to the person who has asked that question, that's the whole beauty of Gen AI. And the benefit of why we're talking about ServiceNow here today is that Gen AI is embedded into the platform. So you're using ServiceNow, that's my assumption, because you're here in the webinar. This is basically the product or the solution that's in use in your organization today. The platform core has several generic or universal functionalities, which are then being used by workflow applications on top of the ServiceNow. And then the experience layer, which is more focus of today, is that how do you access those workflow applications and get the data from the platform core? But the big benefit of ServiceNow's Now Assist or the Gen AI on ServiceNow platform is that it's embedded into the platform. So you don't need an external Gen AI tool. You don't need to integrate. It is there, and it already gets access to the data that you have put in ServiceNow. So that's a huge benefit, and we're going to come back to that in a bit or in a later slide. All right, let's try and do the steps that we recommend to our customers on how to get started. A lot of our customers are saying that the AI push comes from either the top management from the organization or then from the user base who are, they hear about AI, they hear about colleagues or friends who have some sort of an AI enabled, and they would like to have that incorporated into their day-to-day work as well. So we've comprised a 5-step guide to get you started with different viewpoints, if you will. So first up, step 1, in our view, understanding and leveraging the capabilities that you already might have purchased, or that you've purchased from ServiceNow but just haven't enabled yet, or are in the process of thinking about implementing ServiceNow's Now Assist. But first off, understanding what are the possibilities of ServiceNow, and then making decisions afterwards. In order to do that, we need to understand what Gen AI is good at. I think it boils down to 3 topics. So summarizing a lot of data to a person who's then trying to solve a case, trying to close a ticket. It's good at creating content, for example, knowledge articles or different language versions of knowledge articles, or translating on the fly, for example. And then handling large sets of data, creating kind of light from a lot of different places and bringing clarity to the people who are solving these cases. So Now Assist has a lot of functionality, not just in ITSM, but on the platform and the CSM side, but also on the creator side when you create different custom applications on top of ServiceNow. So all of these solutions have native generative AI capabilities nowadays. If those are not enough, we can of course customize different configuration to suit your specific workflows and or your custom applications. That is also part of the one of the benefits of the Now Assist on the ServiceNow platform. Then one very concrete thing before you take the steps 2, 3, 4, and 5 is that try and build a business case. What is it that we're trying to achieve? What is the value that we see that the Gen AI might bring? And then on the flip side of it, what are the costs? What are the license costs? What are the personnel costs? How much does the implementation cost? Just get the idea that does it make sense to us to bring Gen AI into question, or would a simple machine learning solution be good enough? And then last but not least, select a partner who's done this before, because this is a journey. Rome wasn't built in a day, neither is an AI solution for you. So it's something that it takes a bit of time. We need to teach the Gen AI engine to know how to interpret the questions and give the right answers to your organization, and then you will start to reap the benefits.
Maybe it's time for a poll, Hannes.
Sure. Yeah.
To see how many people who have started using Gen AI or using Now Assist, sorry.
Yeah, that's a good question. From our customer base of roughly 200 ServiceNow customers, it's still in the minority, but I'd really like to get this answer if we have the early adopters here in the webinar.
It looks like 61% says no. So there.
Still, I think still that's more than kind of what we see currently on the ground. But that's really good, really good. Good. So as I was saying, understanding the capabilities, whether it's kind of old style or not old style, but whether it's pure machine learning or whether it's the new generative AI stuff from ServiceNow, the Now Assist, we need to take a bit of a journey. So ServiceNow didn't just go buy a technology 2023 and then just bolt it onto ServiceNow. They've actually been on this journey for quite some time. And the earliest machine learning or artificial intelligence, as it was called at that time, they came onto the platform already in Kingston version in 2018. And our customers, very many, are still using those machine learning solutions that actually exist in your platform, which is in use today, for various topics. I think the most used one would be the virtual assistant or virtual agent of ServiceNow, with a conversational AI, kind of like the chatbot of ServiceNow. Or then discovery solutions have several AI functionalities in them in order to help in the event management process, or intelligent search. That was very widely used before the AI search came onto the platform. But then the recent jump last year, 2023, almost 2 years ago, it's going to be 2025 in a month, has been now focusing on the true Gen AI solution of ServiceNow, Now Assist. So what we normally see or implement in the first phase for our customers is the Gen AI powered search. It's super simple to take into use. We see the benefits and we see that Gen AI solution learning from the searches and the data on top of the ServiceNow platform. And it's a really good way to get started. It's one of the first ones we normally do. But summarization, chat summarization, resolution notes generation, those are very talked about and being implemented as we speak. And then on the creator side as well, code generation, app generation, there's a lot of stuff that the ServiceNow Now Assist can help you with. And the good thing is that the speed of delivery, or the speed of adoption, or speed of new functionalities from ServiceNow is actually now cut into different quarters. Every single quarter, there are new use cases being added. This is the situation from a couple of months back this year. So looking at this list in a quarter, it's going to be bigger. There's a lot more use cases implemented by ServiceNow. And these are then, when you buy into the ServiceNow Now Assist, these are then free for you to use and kind of implement to your organizational needs. But that's a bit of a history slide from machine learning to Gen AI, and we'll go from there. So in summary, how can Now Assist or the Gen AI solution of ServiceNow, how can they help you? So normally it's better search, better self-service, better articles, maybe in different languages. It can recommend actions. It can create playbooks if you want. Summarization overall, resolution notes. Those are the most common topics where the Gen AI solution of ServiceNow is best used. but then where not to use it. Very often sensitive data. When it comes to designing the Gen AI solution, we need to figure out the data sources and then build constraints around the different data sources which are then sensitive, normally under GDPR. And then in critical cases where no machine involvement is necessary, payroll questions, sick leave questions, or something like that, nobody wants to talk to a generative AI bot if their issue is of super importance to them. That's some takeaway that we have noticed. So that was step 1, and now I hand over to Sondre to go forward with step 2.
Thank you, Hannes. Yes. So then, of course, it's another important step. It's okay. Let's do an evaluation, and then I'll also give you a checklist on things you should think about doing or you should do before you can actually leverage a lot of these functionalities. So in a pre-evaluation, okay, what should you do? We recommend defining your objective. What is, and in this part, create a vision. What do you want to get out of it? And then from there, think about, okay, how can we make a strategy on how to actually implement this? And why do we want to do it? Is it just because we want to start using generative AI? Or is it because we actually want to improve something? And then, of course, in this process, we should look at, okay, what are our current processes and where could we actually start leveraging the capabilities? So let's look at the workflows we have, how does the processes work, and where can we put in, for example, summarization, where we can help create content more quickly and really help the people that need it. And then, of course, make sure that we do more self-service and such. And then we also have to think for ourselves, are the organization ready? Are they ready to start using it? Do they know enough? Do we need to provide training, or are people afraid of what's going to happen? What is it going to do? Is it going to take people's jobs, or is it just going to help make ourselves more efficient? And of course, we have to look at the risks and be aware of the risk that we have. And as well, especially in the EU, we have this EU AI Act that is created. So have you and your organization looked into this and done an assessment on what do we need to be careful with, and what do we need to know before we start using it? And then we come to the actual checklist. And 2 key personas in this part is the end user and the agent. Those are the 2, especially on the Employee Center and technology workflows, who gets the most value in this case. And those are the ones we're going to dive into. And we're going to start with the end users. So if you want to start using it, you should look at, okay, we need to set up and being on the newest development. And what is that? The newest portal? That's Employee Center. So if you haven't done and moved over to Employee Center, that should be one of the first things you should check off your list and move over to Employee Center. That's the new portal where you have every quarter, as Hannes said with AI, every quarter it comes new things. So this is the new place if you want to start using generative AI. Then as the second step is looking, do you have a virtual agent chatbot today? If not, then you should activate that as well, because this is another way the generative AI can be activated, and you need to have this up and running before. Because if you want to leverage some of the functionality, you need those 2. And of course, one important thing we'll come back to later as well is quality check your services and articles. If you don't have good data, it doesn't help how much AI you put on it. It's just going to show you the bad quality data you have. On the checklist for agents, then you should set up the workspaces. If you haven't gone to start using the new workspaces, you should look at how can we implement this for our users. Maybe start small, start with, for example, the service desk, and then move forwards with more of your users. But this is the place if you really want to leverage some the summarizations on the chat, on the tickets, and also getting the creation of knowledge articles, then you need to be on the workspaces. And in general, this will be a great boost for all of your productivity for your teams. Then the next one, it's having knowledge coordinators, really to increase the quality of your knowledge, because especially now that we may be starting to create more knowledge using generative AI, then it's important that we double check is the quality any good. And I know at least ServiceNow is working on this right now to give us more skills. As Hannes said, they're coming every quarter, and I know one of the things they're looking to is then implement how can we do checks that the actually quality is good on the knowledge articles. But of course, it's important to also maintain the services, because if we want to, for example, use the chatbot, having the conversations and having them conversationable, so you can order them through a chatbot, then you need to make sure that the services are up to date. All right, so I talked a bit about the data quality and what are the steps here. Okay, the data quality, that's the key. For all generative AI to work good, and especially for end users, but also the agents, it's important to have good quality knowledge articles and other content you might have on your portals. And for your agents, it's both for them to do more self-service, so then the generative AI can give you the answers both as an end user, as an agent. And then my question to you, we can run a poll here, Sasha. What do you think of your own data quality? And on where you are now, could it be improved? Is it perfect? Or do you actually know if it's good or not?
And I want to say again out there, if you have any questions, please just write it in the chat. It's yeah, we're happy to answer.
Yeah. Of course, I'll wait for the answer later on. I'll just continue. On the data owners, do you actually have in your organization people who owns the data? Do you have a structure for who owns the data, who makes sure it's up to date? Are they actually following it? So this, I think, is key if you want to really start using it, and setting this these people up for success to be able to improve the quality. And of course, it's a continuous structure, so it's not okay, we fix everything in the knowledge bases, the catalog, but then of course you have to maintain it all the time. And that is also key, having the catalog manager as well, to keep everything up to date. Make sure if you want to make them conversational, and this is especially on the chatbot, and you want to improve the self-service, then it's key that they are up to date and keep updating and having good descriptions. I'm not sure how the poll went, Sasha.
It looks like 88% says it could be better. So
Yep.
there are room for improvements. So it's great to hear how to ensure better data quality, because that's the foundation I hear for making use of Gen AI.
And then we have the next step, then switch it back to Johannes.
All right, thanks, Andre. But all right, so let's think of a scenario. So you've implemented AI, you've run with first a couple of use cases. Now you need to incorporate that into your production engine, into your governance. How do you manage your platform? How do you plan releases? How do you communicate to your end users, etc., etc.? And if you've been in our webinar previously, you might recognize this slide. It's from our older platform governance webinar. And this is basically the model that we, as a service provider to our customers and our customers themselves, can organize around the ServiceNow platform. So somebody needs to govern the platform. Normally, it is a product owner or a platform owner who has that title or has that role. And the little yellow star there is that yes, that box is also included in the discussions with AI, because it will run, if it is Now Assist, it will run on their platform, but if it's outside of ServiceNow, it will then have an integration touch point to their platform. So very much involved in the discussions of AI. When it comes to innovating or developing the roadmap, looking further, the platform owner, more often than not, will need to look at the Gen AI solutions on what is our roadmap. When do we come out with different use cases, either on Now Assist or then on a separate solution? Development, that's a no-brainer. When you've made the decision to go Gen AI, of course, you need to develop it. You need to match the use cases to your organization, and you need to manage the LLMs and just make sure that the Now Assist or Gen AI works for your organization. And it needs to be aligned with the platform architecture from the platform architect role. How does it fit in? To which solutions? Which workflow applications does it fit in? Etc. etc. And then last but not least, the support people. Whether you've outsourced your support with the platform operations team or AMS, as it used to be called, that partner also needs to know what you plan on doing with the Now Assist or Gen AI, and they need to be able to support and modify the use cases that we have developed then, or you have developed on top of the ServiceNow platform. So we call it intelligent platform operations. It's not that the partner in itself or the outsourcing partner is using AI. That's very often the case. But the people supporting your small changes, your different change projects, they need to be aware of where you are using Gen AI and what do I do when supporting your end user, etc., etc. So all of these boxes are affected, and all of the roles have or all of the people have a role in the decision making and modification of the AI. We created a short checklist, and if you're familiar with the RACI matrices, this is it. But this is now in relation to AI, specifically on Now Assist. So different roles, as per previous slide, have different responsibilities. So either they're responsible, either they're accountable, or consulted or informed. But the team that is running the platform needs to work in harmony, in unison, in symphony, to make sure that the AI works on your platform and it serves your organization, your end users, and the people asking the questions. This is something that we would definitely like to go deeper into one-on-one with whoever is interested. So we have a lot of material behind this. So how do you run the day-to-day operations on the governance? And then the smaller box of AI, how does it fit into the bigger box of ServiceNow? And as a reminder, if you want to know more about our views on governance, how to manage the ServiceNow platform, there's a previous webinar we did a couple of months back together with a customer in Finland. And it was, I think, one of our most popular webinars. So this is a good topic. It was a good webinar. I encourage you to go and listen. I think the recording is available on our website. So go and check it out. It was a good webinar.
Yes, I will just mention here, I will also send a link when I send out the recording afterwards. Then you have a link for this webinar as well. But otherwise, it can be found in our video hub on the website.
All right, we are nearing the final step of our 5-step guide. And I think the question here is that, what if Now Assist or something else is not enough? We have too many custom needs. I think, Sondre, this is your part again.
Yes, thank you, Hannes. That is exactly what we want to discuss is, okay, what if none of the capabilities solves my need? Because Now Assist and ServiceNow provides a lot of skills, but they also doesn't take all the different things we need. And sometimes maybe we can use something else. And that's why ServiceNow has also come with Now Assist Skill Kit, which gives, I'll go into more in depth. And then, of course, maybe also Hannes will discuss more later on how can you use Microsoft AI or an open AI to, if ServiceNow doesn't have the things you want, or if you want to combine several systems. But for ServiceNow Skill Kit, if okay, maybe you have custom tables and the skill, the out-of-the-box skills don't work for those. Okay, but let's make, now you can make it your own. You can make your own prompts, you can connect it to the workflows you want, and you can also create them so it triggers by buttons, etc. Some of the first ones we've seen by ServiceNow is especially this on knowledge articles, where you want to verify, is the knowledge actually up to date? And then you can create your own prompts. For example, this doesn't have to be this long, it has to be understood by a 15-year-old, it has to be this and this and this, and then give me, as an outcome of this check, do I actually pause all the different things? And then from there, you can connect that to a workflow connected to a button that has to trigger every time you want to publish a new article. It can go through the check. If it passes with the checks, it gets published. If it doesn't, you can connect it and make a task. You need to make it better, or you will want to actually publish each article. So this gives us a really nice way to then start creating our own, creating more, configuring, and then using the ServiceNow LLM, using all the power it has on the Now platform, and then connecting to our users. And it's also possible, if you have your own LLM, for example, an OpenAI LLM you have created for your organization, you can also connect that to the skill kit and use that instead of the ServiceNow LLM. So this opens a lot of things. And if especially you have any custom needs, then I would be sure to look into this, and then you can create it for yourself. But Hannes, if none of this works, they don't have a ServiceNow Now Assist, what are the other ways you can start using generative AI?
Sure. Oops, sorry, I was too fast. Sorry about that. So, yeah, if none of that works, if that's not an option for you, and let's consider that you are a Microsoft house, your strategy is Microsoft first, then something else later. This is a list of use cases that, together with a Finnish partner called Elisa, we have designed for our customers and are delivering those now as we speak. And they're pretty similar to what exists on the Now Assist, but the idea here is that the logic actually lives in OpenAI, or the Azure capacity of OpenAI. And then the integration to ServiceNow is purely either from a data perspective, so we need data that resides on the ServiceNow platform, or we can actually give ServiceNow platform the instructions as well. But there's a lot of use cases that we have designed for our customers and are implementing currently. And I think the biggest one that is beneficial to a lot of customers is the integration API between OpenAI and ServiceNow. So ServiceNow currently has an integration to Copilot, which is a subscription-based licensing model. But if you're running OpenAI on your own Azure tenant or your own Azure capacity, we have developed a robust integration. So how do you make those two solutions to work together? I'm happy to share more in detail around those, but just as a highlight, the use case is pretty similar to what ServiceNow has. I think if your strategy is to run it in Microsoft, then we can also be of help. Good. I think we're nearing the end part of our webinar, and just as a wrap up, just as a summary of what we've discussed. So we talked in the beginning about the benefits. We looked at the technology. What does it provide you? And then what would be the steps to take that technology into use if your chosen technology would be Now Assist? So first, understanding the capabilities, understanding where it can actually help you. Conducting a thorough pre-evaluation, so evaluating the needs, talking to the users, creating the business case, making sure that the technology fits in your portfolio. Data quality, I think we can't stress that enough. So LLMs or Gen AI solutions are super good when there's a lot of data and a lot of good data, but that's not to say that you shouldn't take steps with Gen AI, even if your data quality is bad, because then we can use a subset of data and then get buy-in from the organization, take it really baby steps forward. but it's to get the most benefit out of Gen AI is to have good amounts of data which are of good quality. Step 4, embed AI into your governance routines, whether you're running a governance structure like we have designed for our customers or your own, but try to embed that decision-making, implementation, and then ongoing support with your service provider or your internal team to make sure that the AI works and it continues to evolve. And then last but not least, once again, if none of that is enough, how do you build custom use cases? Either integrate to an external AI or then use the ServiceNow skill kit. So that's a short wrap-up of what's been discussed today. And I think
before we move on, Hannes, I think it's time for a poll. And then we also have a question from one of our attendees. But first of all, I just like to know if some of you would like to hear how we can help you leverage the AI capabilities in ServiceNow. And then we have a question from Anna Lotta, who writes, good presentation. How can we do a good business case to make the management to understand that this is something that we need to do? The cost for Now Assist is not cheap.
That's very true. I love the last bullet. It truly is not cheap, but there's a lot of value there. I think, as in the beginning of the webinar, I explained kind of my day-to-day job, other than being in sales in the cloud people, is to help customers around the licensing parts. And ServiceNow, just a couple of months back, made a change in the licensing of Now Assist. You can actually now start small. When they first came to market with that solution, yes, the story was that you need to license it for the whole of the organization. But they got a lot of pushback from the partner sphere or the partner market and the actual customers on kind of, it's not a good way to adopt the technology. So they changed the licensing model so that you can actually start in smaller chunks. So that's a good advice that, start small, test it out. A lot of our customers have started with the Now Creator side because, helping around integrations, around workflow creations, around playbook creation, that kind of happens in the background. And Now Assist has a lot of value there. But then if you also want to test it out on your ITSM processes or CSM processes, my suggestion is start small. Do a subset, launch it for a smaller group, test it out, see if it works, and then plan for a bigger rollout. Of course, by the same time, understanding what would be the costs at the end of the rainbow, but you can actually chunk the costs into smaller pieces then. And then where we can help, of course, our customers is to calculate what would be the process benefits. How much time are we saving? Are we able to serve more customers? Do we increase our user experience rate within our end user population or our customers? So there's a lot of kind of angles to a business case. License cost and project cost are just two elements of it. But I think the bigger one is the benefit on kind of how does it help our processes. Sorry for the long answer, but that's the way it normally goes.
I hope that answered it, Lotta.
All right. And as you said, Hannes, this is the part where we want to say some do's and don'ts. And as you already mentioned, it is this. It is do a pilot project. Don't try with everything at once. Don't necessarily go with a big bang, but try it out. Have a test group, do reference group testing, really check, okay, start small and do thorough testing because you never know how it might, the exceptions on how it actually acts and such, because it is generative AI. And of course, then it's important to get the cross-functional teams with you. Should be, do you want to just do it for one, but it should get everyone aboard on the journey in this sense. And then, of course, it's continuous monitoring. It's really look at it. How much are we using it? Are people actually using it? Is it saving time? And these things. And then, the don't go full scale. Or if you're a big customer, maybe you're able to do it, but I would say probably avoid it to start with and then do some testing as well. And of course, AI can only help with so much, especially generative AI. So don't rely on it too much. It's something that will help you improve and make you more efficient, but it will still need all the people to make it work. And yeah. And then a couple of lessons learned from out there in on the project especially, and that is the importance of the vision and strategy in general. So it comes both for creating a portal to having a workspace in the background, creating the vision for what should be the vision for our portal, what should be the vision and strategy for our agents, creating this, and then the same for generative AI. Create a vision, how can we improve these different steps? I think it's also important to define the risks, because there are risks involved with this. It's typical hallucinations, misinformation. All these things are important, and to be upfront with both stakeholders and the people that are using it. So you can then handle some of the risks, or having warning text and other things. And then it's important to be agile, especially now. ServiceNow are producing so many new things. Start with some of the things, maybe go and try more. Be agile, change it around depending on what your needs, and the times are changing so fast. So it's important to jump on the train, and before it starts going too fast, then you fall behind. And of course, it's important, as Hannes have talked about, getting into the governance and really get your organization on board on this journey. Probably parts of your organization is already on it, or maybe you just want them to, you want to also get them on board the ServiceNow train as well. I really think it's important to, especially on the end user part, what should be the experience you want them to find there on the portal? What should you be able to search? What should it show? What services are articles? And how should your chatbot behave? Because it doesn't necessarily mean, if you have both on one page, it doesn't mean that they have to talk the same language and provide the same information, because you use the different ones for different uses. So that is a couple of the lessons learned in this case. If you have anything to add there, Hannes?
Yeah, I think one. So in this webinar, we didn't talk too much about GDPR or data privacy. One thing that we discussed while preparing for this webinar would be the SPP EU clauses from ServiceNow. So we get a lot of questions also from customers that, I would like to have my data inside the European Union or in the continent of Europe. And that is totally possible. It's called SPP EU from ServiceNow. It's a contractual clause that ServiceNow and you agree on, which basically makes sure that the data resides within EU. So if you are unsure of the data and kind of where would it leak, there are safe rails or safeguards from ServiceNow that you can put in place and be more secure of it. So that's something that just immediately popped into my mind.
Thank you, Hannes. Then it's time for questions, if there's, so please post them in a question or in the chat, and then...
Thank you all for joining this afternoon. It's a great pleasure to have so many people joining, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, Hannes and Sondra.
Thank you guys for listening to our knowledge, especially Sondre. So he has the knowledge, I only have opinions, right?
I think it goes both ways, but yeah, thank you everyone.